Let me ask you about something that you said when you were running for president the last time around, back in 2019. At the time, you said that the elephant in the room was whether the country was ready for a woman and a woman of color to be president. So let me ask you, as you sit here today, do you think the country is ready now for a woman and a woman of color to be president?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I am saying that in terms of every walk of life of our country,
Yeah, she's right. I mean, I agree. I think the country is ready for a female president, but I believe it would have to be somebody who the country felt was qualified or, was going to be a good president or whatever. I don't think that the country is ready for, Kamala to be our president. But, yeah, I don't think it's, and I do believe sexism exists. I do. But if you have a female president right now running who's qualified, competent, and capable, and really had, kind of like no reason to be comparing her to Trump, because it'd be nowhere close. She would be like totally on the trail just talking about what she's done and what she's going to do, and not so much of the bashing of Trump. Yeah, I think the country would be ready for that.
I think part of what is important in this election is really not only turning the page, but closing the page
Yeah, she's ready to just turn the page. Everything, no problems here. The last presidential term was held by Democrats, and that's the current one. And I still don't hear them touting enough good stuff. You know what I mean? Not prescription medical prices. Don't get me wrong. That stuff is important stuff. And it's something that they should have done. Don't get me wrong, but is that all they've done? You know what I'm saying? I really believe that so much of the government's resources were put into our foreign policy as far as the immigration issue. I mean, if you can't get what you want, through the normal process, you don't just blow it up. And I feel like that's what the Democrats did. They figured the Republicans ain't going to work with us because there's things in here they don't agree with. And we don't want to sign it the way they do it. So it's not going to be an agreement. So you just blow it up. Just open the damn doors. Let all the immigrants in. Is that what you do? See, that's bad policy. And that's a policy that you guys haven't addressed properly. For you to be a current, it'd be different if you were just a Democrat. But you're a part of this administration, so you have to stand up and own some of this stuff. What you're doing now is perfect. 2 weeks out, you ain't gonna win nobody over with no real facts. You just need to see if you can get more people to like you, and that's gonna be your only chance.
Chapter on an era that suggests that Americans are divided. What I know from personal experience, from lived experience, and from my travels even most recently, the vast majority of us have so much more in common than what separates us. And what the American people want in their president is a president for all Americans, which is the type and kind of president I pledge to be. This is my life's work. As you know, I started as a prosecutor.
What do you think people don't know what prosecutors do? Lock people up for long ass times and go home and eat steak. That's what they do. You know what I'm saying? And not understand. She's supposed to be a progressive prosecutor. So if you're a progressive prosecutor, you would start working with other parts of the government and say, hey, you know what I'm noticing? I'm noticing a lot of these guys who are coming through here for stuff that's really not that major, but it's just a large abundance of these black men coming through here, and we just keep they're just hitting them out of the park. They're guilty. Jail. Is there something that we can do before they get to this stage? Is there something? That's what a progressive prosecutor, that's what a prosecutor like no one's ever heard would do. She keeps trying to act like she's a progressive prosecutor, and all she did was what other prosecutors do: lock up black people. That's it. The prison rates in California didn't plummet when she was in office. They rose like with every other one of them. That's what they do.
I never asked a victim of crime, a witness to crime, are you a Republican or Democrat? The only thing I ever asked them is, are you okay? And that's what the American people want to know, regardless of their race, regardless of their gender or their age. They want to know that they have a president who sees them and understands their needs and focuses on their needs understanding we all deserve to have a president who is focused on solutions and not just fanning the flames of division and hate.
She fans them too. Believe me, her and Trump, this is about the worst. I thought Hillary and Trump was pretty bad. Biden was like more aloof and not really locked in. So he didn't really get it. He had a few moments when he just, had one of the most senior moments when he a little grumpy, a little warm milk and some cookies, and he'd be all right. But her, no. We can't go for this. We cannot have this lady as our president. I know it ain't going to happen. And I know it's not going to be close either. Everybody's talking about the Hillary. And that's when I think the journalists, who are really committed to politics and who don't just go which way the wind blows, will look at the overall picture and be able to see why she didn't win. And be like, yeah, she kind of came in with the... Jim Clyburn and them are trying to basically dupe their own race into voting for a woman as a black woman, and she ain't. That's about the worst thing in the world you can do when these black people genuinely gave you their vote to resurrect Joe Biden's dying campaign. When it got down there in the primaries in South Carolina, and those black people went out like you asked them to and voted for Joe Biden. And resurrected his run, and other states saw how the people in South Carolina stood up, and Jim Clyburn rallied the troops and circled the wagons, or whatever you want to call it, and then only to use that political capital to advance the career of Kamala Harris, but not to do anything for black people. That's kind of what it comes down to. It's kind of fucked up when you really think about it that way, but that's kind of what it comes down to.
I'm reluctant to lean into, to talk about the historic nature of your candidacy on the campaign trail. Why is that?
Well, I'm clearly a woman.
Yeah, she goofy as hell. She laughing and she's clearly a woman. And then that's the fucking problem is, what race are you? What do you identify as? You can, and you know what we're talking about. You cannot sit there again and again and again and pretend to be African American black in the United States and not have us on your agenda. Obama pulled that slick shit off, and you trying to do the same thing. I'm obviously a woman. Yeah, we see that. But so was Hillary. You ain't the first woman to ever run on a major ticket. We got that. Now, what about the other part of your historical run? Let's speak about that.
I don't need to point that out to anyone. The point that most people really care about is, can you do the job? And do you have a plan to actually focus on them?
And are you honest? Do you tell the goddamn truth most of the time? That's kind of important too. Don't tell us what we want. Don't quit. I never thought I'd say it because I was complaining when I heard about your stepkids calling you Mamala. Mamala. I was like, what the fuck? But now I start to see it. You're very bossy. You're trying to direct and tell everybody what. How do you know that $6,000 tax credit for a family who just had one child one time in the whole raising of that child? That's all that. How in the hell? Why shouldn't you make something more for college, or something more for their future, or something more for their parents as far as their current incomes and statuses? And they don't have to wait on you to decide a $25,000 down payment for their house, or decide, one of your other pet projects. Why can't you just put the power in the people's hands? And because all you sitting up here talking about doing is just opening up a bunch of programs in the government that's ultimately going to cost us more in tax dollars, and we're bringing in all these immigrants. I just don't see how you're going to pay for any of this stuff. And I don't think you do either. You just saying it because you want to get elected so bad.
And that is why I spend the majority of my time listening and then addressing the concerns, the challenges, the dreams, the ambitions, and the aspirations of the American people. They deserve to have a president who's focused on them, as opposed to a Donald Trump who's constantly focused on himself. I think
y'all tired of it too, huh? She say his name too goddamn much. She should be as far away, his mind, his name should be so far in the back of her mind to where she's just doing her thing because she's got so much going on. She should have so much going on. She should have done so much in the 4 years as vice president, she should be able to talk about some of the things that she's accomplished, some of the meetings she's been in, some of the things that they're working on. Maybe some of the things that they're working on that we would like to reelect you and keep you in there so that you can continue and finish. But what have you done? What are you in the middle of? What is going on? This is crazy.
That's part of why people are exhausted with Donald Trump and his approach, because it's all about himself and his personal grievances. And not about the American people, not about how are you going to help families, how are you going to help small businesses, how are you going to strengthen our economy. These are the things I'm focused on. I'm focused on investing in the new industries on which America should lead and be a global leader.
I asked because to implement the agenda that you want to implement, you have to win first. You have to win the White House. And right now there is a big gender gap in this race. Fewer men support you right now than they did President Biden. Some of your allies have suggested there's sexism at play. I wonder, do you think there is sexism at play here?
Let me
Okay, this is where we get off, folks. Because what I want you to know is she pulled it off again. They keep trying to pin her down on black stuff. Give her an open opportunity, softball pitch to talk about race. Your race. Not Donald Trump. Not what's going on in this country. Because you don't seem to address that very well. Because it's fundamentally not racist. But you can identify a racial trope when it's hurled in your direction, but not when it's hurled in the rest of our direction. That's, I think, the problem I have. And you did it again. This lady's about to go off into sexism and then some other bullshit. And the thing that needs to be dealt with first is the foundation on which you're standing, and that's our fucking backs. Pretending to be black is exactly what you're doing, because every time they call you the N-word, they're calling us the N-word, and you're not even technically the N-word. You know, that's kind of weird, huh? But it's true. We're that, and they need to quit saying that shit, and you need to quit being offended by it, and they need to quit hurling those, because you won't clear up who you are and what you are and why you're here and what is your objective. I don't understand. I'm from California, and we know about you in California. Black men in California know about you. And black men who ain't been in the system in California especially know about you. You are not nothing special. I don't understand why they have to do this. Why couldn't they see in 2019 that you might not catch fire? They should have seen better numbers out of you in 2019, because you're back here 4 years later asking for their vote as president, and people are so delusional that they really believe you have a chance to win. You don't. You don't. It's a nice thing to talk about. It's good for me to see you slowly being exposed, but you will completely be exposed on election day, because I think the American people, and especially black people, are smarter than that. We're not going to let you get away with that. And Jim Clyburn, hopefully you'll retire soon and take the whole damn Congressional Black Caucus with you. It isn't doing anything for us. You guys need to start reporting back to us with progress until you step down, because you need to step down. We need to protest, grassroots, and do it our way in order to get anything done in this government. Working within this political system is not going to do anything for us, and it never has, because it wasn't designed to. Just the way it is. And we really ain't going to work with that knucklehead. She is a very difficult person to deal with. If you were of any race and somebody came along pretending to be your race, I think you'd be able to understand what I'm talking about. And the bad things that have happened to you, they get up there and spit it out, you know, on the campaign stomp, and everybody just, oh, poor Kamala, oh, with that, you know. Remember, she's the one who integrated schools in California in the 70s. You know what I'm saying? California. She said that shit on a debate. That's don't be just looking at Trump. She with that bullshit too. And that's what's so fucking, it's so sad. And I wouldn't even be risking voting for Jill Stein if I really believed that harm was going to come to us. But harm is probably going to come to us, but it's going to be no matter who we vote for. It isn't like she's going to save us from Trump, and Trump damn sure ain't going to save us from her. But when I see the Republicans lining up to work with the Democrats the way they are, that make me want to see Trump win. Because I want to see what the fuck is they trying to protect. That these two arch enemies are willing to work together against Trump. What is Trump? And he was president once. So, you would think that the Republicans could at least breathe a sigh of relief, and no, because Trump was like not with their policies, not with their ideas, and they knew it. And there was a lot of fighting going on up there. And they say he might, tank the country or kill the democracy. Hey, he might be a hero in the end, and maybe he get in there and take us in another direction that might save us from what these Democrats and Republicans are. I just can't believe that they can link up like that on her campaign, but then down in the Senate can't get shit done. Won't work together for us, but boy, when it come to Trump, oh yeah, you guys linking up. This is just kind of weird. I think that's the weirdest shit in the world. I'm gonna get on up out of here. Keep your eyeballs peeled. Watch Kamala. She's trying to steal our vote. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you on the next Black Popcorn.